What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me on Tuesday afternoon. It's the Just Gonna Say It podcast. Today, we are going to ask the question and discuss the subject. Are you modding your guitar for all the wrong reasons? Give you something to think about. I've been thinking about this a bunch because I've been playing around with stuff. I've been helping people when they call and want parts, and sometimes what people think they want and when people think they're trying to do might not be in the right zone, right? And we kind of have to like figure out what they actually want because, you know, results and how we get there sometimes don't match up. So we got to figure that out, which is part of what we do, you know, here at Dylan Talks Tone when you call them, you know, when you email us or text us or whatever and want some pickups. So we're going to talk about that, but we're going to take it a lot further than just, are you making the right decisions for your guitar? We're gonna talk about this a bunch. I want to tell everybody always this is ad free. These podcasts are ad free, meaning we do not run ads during our live streams. So if you watch these live, then you will not hear ads in them. If you watch them afterwards, you might see some, but if you watch them live, you will not see any ads, which is pretty stinking cool. That is because I don't want you to have to deal with them, and because this live stream is sponsored by me and by you. Everybody who watches these things and you all support what we do, I really appreciate that with super chats and etc. throughout the live. If you have questions related to or not related to what we're going to talk about today, you are welcome to put a bunch of question marks in front of your actual question, and we will get to it. If you use a super chat, we'll drop what we're doing, and we will get to it right away. Also, I want to mention the other way you can support us is right down here. You can go to Dylan Talks Tone and buy pickups. You can go to patreon.com/Dylan Talks Tone and join Patreon. I'm trying some stuff over there. Those of you that are members, you'll understand. And also YouTube members. It's the same thing on both platforms. So if you don't want to join Patreon because it's dumb and you don't have it and you don't care, then you can just hit the little join button down here at the bottom of the thing too. That'll support us, as well as a lot of the links in the description that are affiliate links that will also support what we do. Why are my glasses getting stuck in my headphones? Okay. So I want to talk about this. Are you modding your guitar for the wrong reasons? So let's talk about why. And I'm going to go, something you need to understand. Sometimes I'm making fun of, well, I'm going to tell you, a lot of times I'm making fun of us as a culture because I have the sense of humor that I can do that. If you can't handle that, you might not want to be here. But, you know, comedy comes from some sort of reality, and some people can't handle it. You know, some people can't handle reality. So why are you modding your guitar? I think a lot of folks, they think they are. They think they're modding the guitar because they want better tone. Like, I'm chasing tone, man. There's something I'm hearing and I don't hear it, and I'm looking for this tone. And I don't think they are. I really don't think they are. I think that many people are chasing the memories of their youth because they had a Led Zeppelin record or an Allman Brothers record or some other record with a mullet. And they're trying to find it, or some sort of spiky hair or whatever that they used to have, or parachute pants. I don't know, when they were kids, and they are trying to find that sound for nostalgic reasons, not necessarily because it's the perfect tone, not necessarily because they will ever achieve that tone because they're not Van Halen or whoever. But it's just a memory, you know. They're just trying to keep a memory alive, which is cool. Like, it's a reason, right? But it's not actually improving your tone. It's you're chasing the memory. That's a feeling. You know, do you miss an old girlfriend? Like, there's this one song and it reminds me of this girl, and so therefore I have to, you know, I gotta chase that tone. You could be idolizing a guitarist. This is a big one. This is why we have all of the you know, signature models and etc., stuff like that. Some of you might be like me, where you just like the feature set of a particular guitar, or some of you might just like worship everything that the ground that the person walks on. And so you have to have all the things that say slash on it or whatever. And anywhere in between, right? So there's those reasons that we might be chasing tone for some reason. Another big one that I hear on almost a daily basis is the deifying of a guitar maker. And I'm mostly talking about Leo Fender here. I don't hear too many people worshiping Ted McCarty, but not everybody, but a lot of people basically worship Leo Fender like he was a god. I'm going to be a little irreverent here. He was an old man. He was actually an accountant who learned how to mass produce a cheap guitar. That's what he did. Along the way, he changed history. So we got to give him props, but he's not a god. Okay. I heard it the other day. He's like, I feel blasphemous even liking a Silver Sky because, and I'm like, why do you worship Leo Fender? It makes no sense to me. But you can, if it's up to you. I'm not telling you what to do. You can obviously do that if you want. But all of these things, none of these things actually are tone. Like none of these things are, the reason you would mod your guitar for all of these things, they're not tone related. They're all a feeling that you're trying to chase, right? Which is fun, but it's not tone. It's not tone. So why are you modding your guitar? You're trying to chase a feeling, which is cool. I think that's awesome. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm saying you should realize it. Okay. The whole point of this podcast episode today is to make you realize that there's more to this than tone. Okay. So, because it's not about tone. Tone, in my definition of it, and you can argue about this if you want in the comments, get down there and tell me. It's what this is the sound the guitar makes. That's it. It's the sound the guitar makes, right? I mean, that sounds awesome. That sound sucks. I wish that sounded like this. If you just don't use the word tone, which would be awesome. It's in the name of the channel. I kind of wish we could take it out, but I don't think we can. I think it's a little late for that. But it's how the guitar sounds. That's it. That's it. Do you like how the guitar sounds? We're not chasing tone. We're not chasing a thing. We're chasing a feeling. We're chasing an experience. The tone of the guitar is how the guitar sounds. The result of how the guitar sounds, and some other factors we're going to get into, is what you're chasing. So when you mod a guitar, what are you actually doing? Just stuff to think about. It's the result of resistance, capacitance, and inductance in an electric guitar. That's how a guitar makes sound. That's it. It's basically a little electric motor, only going backwards. That's really it. So you have to kind of be able to parse out tone, as in how the guitar sounds, versus feelings. Those are two different things. Now, how the guitar sounds can create good feelings and vice versa. But the point of talking about this today is to make you realize that and to accept it. Like, just accept the fact that there's more to a guitar than capacitors, pots, and switches and pickups and all that kind of stuff. Because the other thing that we haven't talked about is cool factor. The guitar has to be cool. It has to be cool. And I know, and what we're about to get into now, there's going to be a bunch of people, and this is another thing I hear in comment sections all over the internet, and I've heard it for decades, even before the internet existed. Well, that doesn't have anything to do with the tone. That's not going to change the tone. That's not going to make it sound better. I don't care. It's cool. And if you don't feel cool, you ain't going to play guitar very well. It's just how it works, right? It's just how it works. And honestly, you can't have one without the other. You can't have a good feeling, but not good tone. You can't have good tone, how the guitar sounds, and not have a good feeling. They're interchangeable, or not. They're not mutually exclusive, but they kind of are, because you got to have both of them in order to have a good, a good thing. So how the guitar sounds, right? That's a thing. So you got to have good tone. But the feelings that the guitar gives you are different. That's almost a mechanical. This is weird. I was really trying to parse this out, really thinking about this. And I was writing down a bunch of things like what affects what when you play the guitar. And you have how the guitar sounds, right? That's one side of it. But then you have how the guitar feels. And how the guitar feels affects how the guitar sounds, but not always vice versa. Really think about that. How the guitar feels. And people need to let themselves believe this. They need to let themselves, this is where all the tone wood freaks come in. Okay. So it's not about the tone. It's about how the guitar feels. If the guitar's dead, you're dead. Your tone is dead. No, it ain't. It still makes the same sound or some substance thereof, but you feel different. You got to have a good feeling when you play the guitar. 100%. Because that's how you interface with the instrument. And then if you interface with the instrument in a good way, then you're going to sound better because you're going to play better, right? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And I think and the reason I'm bringing this up is because the number of kind of comments and responses on social media and that I hear every day is, and I keep coming back to it. And even in the content that we make. So like we'll make a video. I'll make a video and be like, okay, look at this cool pick guard. Well, that doesn't have anything. It's not going to make it sound better. I don't care. You shouldn't care either. You probably suck because you care too much about that. I mean, really good guitar players got to have a good feeling from the guitar too. And you know it. If you would admit it, if you would just admit that, when I'm really in the pocket and I'm really in the zone, the guitar's vibrating in my lap, I can feel it. Even doesn't matter what it's made out of, plywood, aluminum, cardboard, doesn't matter, but you can get in the pocket and you can have the feeling and the sound just flows and the guitar sounds good. It feels good. And you're just jamming. And that's the thing, right? But if something is missing, if the guitar doesn't feel good, if the finish is sticky, if the strap pin is in the wrong place, if you've got a sharp fret, if obviously if your setup is off, what else? If you got a slipping tuner, obviously, or you have a stiff tuner and it's hard to tune the thing in between songs, any of those things that take away from the experience, therefore make you play different, make you feel different, and then all of a sudden, this guitar sucks, this experience sucks, and the tone sucks. But it doesn't. The guitar didn't sound different. It's just you played worse because you didn't. See what I'm saying? All this stuff kind of goes together. It's much more than just how the guitar sounds. It's much more than what capacitor you have in it. It's much more than all the things that people, anytime anybody says, well, that doesn't have anything to do with the tone, just ignore that person. You do not need that negativity in your life. If you say, no, and let me know in the comments how you view this. I need the guitar to look good. I need it to feel good. I need it to play good. And I need it to sound good. If any one of those things is missing, I can get through it. But if I have another guitar to choose that allows me to do all those things I just mentioned, I'm going to pick that one up first every time. Every time. And I don't know if you've noticed, but we've not talked about money. We're not talking about expensive guitars. We're not talking about cheap guitars. We're not talking about any of that. We're talking about the feeling that you get. Okay? That's the thing. The feeling that you get. It's the entire playing experience that you get when you pick up the guitar. Look at the entire guitar and amp and cable and pedals and all as a system. And we used to talk about this a lot. And I don't talk about it too much anymore, but look at it as a system. And the color of the guitar, whether the pick guard matches, where the strap pins are located, how your strap matches or not, whether you care about that, the color of the fretboard, all the things that don't matter, that doesn't make the tone better, it doesn't make the guitar sound any better, are part of the playing experience. And you start to chip away those things. So let's say the strap pin's a little off and the finish is a little sticky. I can't stand urethane, like an Epiphone urethane finish. That's why I don't like it. And maybe or strap pin's loose. Let's say that the strap pin's loose and the thing's spinning. Or maybe you've got the wrong kind of, maybe your strap is like an inch wider or an inch narrower than you want it. All those things. You know, I was thinking about this. I was watching Formula One on Sunday, which is a stupid race. What a mess. But they were talking about, I can't remember who was saying it. Maybe Nico Rosberg was talking about during a safety car that they could actually like slow down and like loosen their belts and readjust. And if there's a pebble in their shoe, if there's everything's got to be right? Like the entire experience. So, well, it doesn't make you faster if there's not more power in the. Well, you know what? If you got a pebble in your shoe, or if somebody was talking about their brake travel going 2 millimeters further than it was supposed to. If you're good, you're going to notice all the little things that have nothing to do with the horsepower, and you're going to be slower. It's the same thing with a guitar. Who cares about the tone if the strap pin is loose and you have to worry that, or you're going to worry that it's going to pop off. I should have got strap locks. The whole gig, right? All those things, everything contributes to it. And you play better or worse. I have had multi-$1,000 guitars at gigs and completely bombed it because, I don't know, I had a bad cable or who knows what, like some other thing just was like, ugh. And for those of you that have played live, you know this. You could have an incredible gear. You could have amazing gear. You could have the best sounding guitar ever. And some nights, man, it's like, oh, my pedal board, it was a little too far to the left. Every time I stepped on my wah, it was rocking. I don't know. Was there a cable out of place? Or anything, right? Or something, my pot was scratchy or whatever. And it completely throws you off. I think it's really, really key. So here's the question. What mods are good mods? So if we're going to talk about, because I mod guitars for a living, I sell pickups for a living. I want you to buy all the pickups, right? So I'm not saying to not do it, but I'm saying make the contributions to the guitar that make the most difference to you as a player, right? So if this week it means buy new strap locks, if it means to change tuners, we got in a conversation last week. There's one guy he's like, I would love to have a Silver Sky, but I don't like the way the plastic tuners feel, the buttons on the tuners. I get that. I totally get it. I don't care about it, but I totally get it because if you don't like how something feels and it's something that you got to deal with in between each song, it's going to take away from it, So I kind of break some of this stuff down into categories, right? So you've got your function and convenience stuff, right? So you've got, you've got your strap, you've got your knob types. Like a lot of people don't think about, like, I don't like speed knobs. A lot of people don't think about switch tips, right? Like they just use whatever comes on it. Like maybe you want to change the ergonomics of that somehow. So there's a lot of convenience things. Locking tuners, it just makes everything so much faster, right? Get in the comments and let me know if there's something else you can think of, like comfort, and somebody's mentioning comfort and function, where it's like it's not taking away from the experience because all the stuff just works, right? It's really, really important, right? The length of your tremolo arm, if you can vary that, right? I've got a couple of guitars with, actually, both my PRSs have 2 different lengths of tremolo arms and weights of the little weight on the end of it. And it makes a big difference. It's interesting. So those kind of things. So you've got your function and your convenience stuff, right? And then you've got your aesthetic stuff. And I know people, it doesn't matter, whatever. I don't care. Like I said, we don't need those people. So the color of your pick guard, the color of your knobs, I like dark fretboards. Okay. It has nothing to do with bright or dark, like tone. Like I don't care about that. I like 6150 frets because I just like how they feel. I like dark fretboards. So black and brown fretboards. I don't really care what the wood is. I just like the way it looks. And I like the way it feels too over maple. Maple's okay, but this goes back to that smooth, sticky finish thing to me. So I don't like a smooth, shiny fretboard, like a matte fretboard, if that makes sense. So then that kind of puts me in the tier of brown fretboards because I like the way it feels. So there's all kinds of aesthetic things that matter. They do matter. We talked about, or could be distracting. You could have something visual about your instrument that distracts you from how you play. And if you feel ugly, if you feel like everybody's looking at me and this is making me nervous, then, betterhelp.com/DylanTalksTone give you a discount. That could help with that too. But also having the guitar in the color you like. It's part of your identity as a musician. Like, it's true. I have a bunch of pink guitars, and that's not by accident. I like them. I think they're cool. And I like the fact that other people don't like them as much. I like individual things. I like stuff that's not, I don't want a black Strat, right? I just don't. I want something cool, right? I want it to be neat. I don't want 5 guys on the same street to have all the same stuff. That's okay. You can do that. You can have a Sunburst Telly if you want. I'm not going to. Aesthetically, I care about that. And it makes me more excited to play the guitar because I like how it looks. It's just true. And then we start talking about tone, like actual sounding, how the guitar sounds. Obviously, we have pickups. It's huge, right? Pickups is a huge thing because you can take the entire shift of the instrument. You can shift the entire frequency response of it and widen and narrow it and flatten it and peak it in various places. You can do that with pickups, and you can take a big swing at it, which is really, really fun. And you can make the guitar a lot more versatile depending on your pickup choice, which is really, really fun. And then we can go even more granular, right? With pot choices and with cap choices. But that's pretty much it. I would say if you, and maybe tonally too, I guess sound wise, but this probably sound / goes back into feel, because it's a mechanical part of the guitar that might kind of cross over a little bit. Nut and saddle material, right? And construction. Take a Telly and you put steel versus brass versus titanium. Really, that's a mechanical change to the guitar. It's not an electronic one, but it can affect it, right? We know that. So, but I would say don't get too lost in it. Don't get too lost in even the electronic part. You can take a big swing with pickups, and if they're good pickups, you'll solve a lot of problems that you might think you have, which is probably, and I think this is something that I think people need to think about more, all this stuff, right? So we talked about why do we mod a guitar? So all the stuff we just talked about is very, very common. People dive way too deep into all of those things. But really, when you're talking about the actual sound of the guitar, I've heard hundreds of emails over the years. Look, I'm trying to find this mid-range peak between this frequency and this frequency, and I'm looking for it when the volume, and I'm like, dude, you're overthinking it. If you have good pickups and your guitar is set up well, you will find that. You will play to that. You will find that. It will be contained in there. It's not like a bullseye that we have to hit with a dart. Otherwise, you'll never have this tone. Okay? 99% of the time. 99. I mean, there's been very few people that I've ever spoken to who find it necessary to be that granular about their tone. And I will tell you that the people that thought that they needed to be that granular about their tone were not professionals. Every professional guitar player I know, and I'm talking A-list touring musicians that I work with, are like, it sounds good or it doesn't sound good. I was hanging out with somebody in Nashville You all know who he is. The last time I was there, and he's like, I heard you make the best P90s in the world. I'm like, I do. And he sat down and he goes, that's what a good P90 should sound like. That was it. That was it. The less experienced player who thinks they know everything will be like, yeah, but it doesn't have this, and it doesn't have that. It's either it's good or it's not. Most of the time. Most of the time. Now, there's a few situations where, people could get super granular on that stuff. But you could go pickups and then pots and then a cap. You could probably kind of adjust around in there a little bit. But don't overthink that stuff, right? When you call me or email me or text me or whatever, just be like, hey, this is what I'm looking for. And here's what'll happen. I'll put you in a block, right? So there'll be like the super vintage tone guy, right? They'll be like, I want the vintage tone, but a little more. There's that guy, right? And then there's like, I want full shred. And then there's the in-betweens of that. Like, what I really want is, I want the vintage tone, but I'm playing with this amp, so it's going to be a little different. Will your product do that? Yes or no. That's it, right? So somebody will say, I have a flat six, I'm looking at your flat six tele pickups. But I'm going to play it through a high gain amp, and I need it to do this, this, and this, and this, and this. Will it do it? Yes. Okay. That's it. If it doesn't, no, it will. I won't tell you if it won't. I mean, that doesn't make sense. I won't sell you something you don't want. I hate to do that. But bigger and more general swings at things, especially with pickups, is usually sufficient. Many people will think that they need something and then find out once they understand how it works, that they don't. I.e. hotter pickups. Can you wind me a hotter one? I mean, I can, but it'll suck. What you really want is a low output pickup with a lot of clarity and a good mid-range punch, and it'll sound louder, and it'll hit your amp harder, and it won't be as hot, and it will be heard in the mix better, and you will be able to make more sounds with it, and it will be more versatile. If I make you a hotter version of the same pickup, it's just going to be a mud fest, right? So it's really interesting. Understanding the sonic space. So why I say this all the time. I stole this from John Bollinger. I'll tell you the story where that happened. So he was playing with Lee Bryce in Columbia, South Carolina, and they had it was at I think it was at a fairgrounds or something. No, it wasn't at a fairgrounds. It was at the university over there. And they had these like portable trailers, and it was the dressing rooms. And so we were in there and we were hanging out. It was just me and him with two electric guitars, and we were looking at an empty room with no amps, just sitting there goofing around. And he started going off on this thing about the sonic space. Like, because what we were talking about was in Lee Bryce's band, he was a utility player. So he was not actually the guitar player. He was the utility player. So which meant he played banjo, harmonica, pedal steel. I can't remember. There's a few things, mandolin, all that stuff. And that's what he played. And he was talking about having to be versatile in those roles so that he could maintain his sonic space, because the bass player had a SVT over here and the guitar player was playing through 6505s in a country band. It was basically a rock and roll band with a country singer. This is really all modern country is, which is really fun. Super fun to go to the shows because it's just real good rock and roll, and the guitar players are freaking amazing. But he was talking about that sonic space thing, and that always stuck with me because he was really talented at that. Like, okay, if I'm playing this instrument, then it needs to sound this way so that it doesn't get lost here, here, and here. And so I've always, for a decade since. That was many years ago that I've talked to him about that. Have always thought about that with the stuff that we make and the stuff and the way I talk to you about it too, because louder's not better, hotter's not better. Not always. It can be if that's the application. But when we mod stuff, thinking about the sonic space is the most important thing in tone itself, in guitar, how the guitar sounds. When we're saying tone for this conversation today, we're talking about how the guitar sounds. Okay. So I think, breaking this whole thing down into how the guitar feels, how it looks, and how it sounds. And then having a good blend of all of those things and making sure that you have a good final result. Make the modifications to your guitar that get you there. That's really what it is. We got a super chat from Kyle. He says, I don't know what I want until I get it. I accept and use the pickup to its strengths. I like being surprised. That makes sense too, right? And honestly, that's smart. You have all seen in Facebook groups and in forums, hey, I ordered this guitar. What mods should I do to it? None. Get it. Play it. Figure it out. I'm not you. That guitar's, everybody replaces is it like a guitar thing, acoustic thing. Apparently everybody replaces the bridge pins because blah, 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 this weird frequency. Play the freaking guitar. Like maybe your hands don't do that to that guitar. Maybe you don't play hard enough to make that happen. Maybe you play too hard and the new bridge pins that everybody on the internet's getting gives you some other wacky sound that you don't want. Buy the guitar and play it. And then troubleshoot what's missing or what you want from there. Right? And I don't mean one little peak frequency from here and here. I mean, these pickups are muddy. Yeah, they are. These pickups are not hot enough. Okay, what does that mean? They just don't have this, this, and this, and this. So when you go to your pickup builder, whether it's me or anybody else, you're informed about what you actually want. This is what I want. I want the pickup I want the guitar to do this and this, and it's not doing it. Okay. I've many times said to people, I don't have the pickup to fix that problem. Here's who does. And I'd refer you to Lawler or somebody else. Or I might say, no, our DAFs will do that. You should just get those and put them in there and be fine. Yeah, that'll fix that problem. So what's missing? Maybe there's something that's overbearing, right? Maybe there's something that it's doing that you don't want it to do. Like maybe it's feedback. You got a Gretsch and it's got cheap pickups in it, and there's just too wily, and you want something a little calmer. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe the guitar's doing something you don't want it to do, or maybe you want it to do something that it won't do. Sometimes it's the wrong guitar. I've told you this story in videos where I had a Strat and a PV Studio Pro 40, and I'm trying to play Van Halen licks when I'm a kid. And it just doesn't sound like that. I can't get it to sound anything like that. Well, duh, because it's, not that guitar. But sometimes it is. Let's see here real quick. Let's go through some of these comments really fast. Good topic. Lots of people modding for modding's sake. Now, okay, this is where the cheap guitar guy has a lot of fun. It's not my thing, but I like you to do it because that's how I make a living. I don't care about it for me personally, but I know a lot of people really enjoy it. Okay, I'm going to go on Craigslist, or I'm going to go on Facebook Marketplace, or I'm just going to go to, Amazon or wherever and buy a really inexpensive guitar and try to make it sound as good as I can. It's fun. It's actually really fun. It's fun to do that. I don't have time to do it really, but it's fun. So for the sake of doing that, that's really cool. So modding for modding's sake isn't necessarily a bad thing unless you're doing it you can do whatever you want. Obviously, I'm not telling you not to do anything. You can do whatever you want, but I think it could be a waste of time if you're doing modifications to a guitar because you learned about it on the internet. You should, in my opinion, make modifications to your guitar based on what you learned from that guitar, not from what you learned from somebody else. Because you might not even be hearing the same thing. You might not be playing the same thing. You might not be experiencing the same thing. So if you heard that you have to do something because the internet forum told you, it might not be true. It might not be true. I don't have any non-standard mods to any of my guitars from any forum on anything, right? I have pickup replacements. Let me think about this right now. I have some pickup replacements. That's it. Because I like how my pickups sound in comparison to the stock ones. But I don't have any, none. None of my Gibsons have the stupid thing on the peg head. I just cut the nut properly, so I don't need it. I don't have any wacky bridges on any of my tellies. I just have the normal ones because you can set them up to intonate correctly. Oh, I take that back. Actually, I'm about to take it off, though. I do have a Music City compensated bridge on my custom shop Gibson, but I'm going to take that off and put that on another guitar and put the stock one back on. That thing actually really works. I just don't need it on that guitar because it was already good. That thing's neat, though. But I would not buy it just because that is an excellent example of a product. Well, if you have this guitar, then you have to get the Music City bridge. I heard this from everyone. When I bought my custom shop Les Paul, everybody said, you have to get the Music City bridge, otherwise the guitar will not be in tune. Well, guess what? We did a video. I showed you it was in tune before and it was in tune after. Period. End of story. There was no need for the $100 for the bridge. The guitar did not need it in my situation. Someone gifted that to me, and I'm very grateful for them. They actually gifted me that guitar, or gifted me that part. So because I want to not be ungrateful for it, because it's really cool, it's really pretty, and it really does work, I'm going to use it on another guitar, just not this one. That's an excellent example of, hey, I just bought a custom shop Les Paul, or I just bought any Les Paul, or I just bought any Gibson style guitar with that wraparound bridge. Oh, you have to have, otherwise, yeah, I just have to. No, actually, not. Now, you might, because this could happen. One of you could buy this custom shop Les Paul for me, this actual guitar. You will never, because I will never sell it. But you could buy this guitar from me. You could get it home. You could string it up with whatever brand of strings you play. And you could plug it into your amp and be like, holy crap, this guitar will not intonate. Why? Because your string height is a little different. Because your string gauge is a little different. Because maybe you use a different brand than me. You play a little harder. You fret a little harder or a little lighter, etc. All of a sudden, the strings are sitting a little different. And now the guitar will not be in tune. And you need a Music City bridge. But I don't. Those are the types of modifications, I think, that you just don't listen to the internet. Listen to yourself. Get the guitar, play it. Solve the problem by learning it first, because 99% of the time, a telly or a wraparound bridge or anything like that can be set up if you learn about it. If you really understand what you're doing, you can learn about it. Floyds. Floyds are so easy to set up. You can set up a Floyd in 10 minutes. I'll do it for you right now. Piece of cake. No problem. Absolutely no problem. You just got to learn how to do it and be patient. And it'll take you a half hour the first time. It'll take you 20 minutes the second time. It'll take you 10 minutes the third time, and every time thereafter. And you won't have to buy this stupid lock thing and that thing and this little gadget that costs $89. You won't have to buy any of that. Even though the internet's like, you bought this guitar, you have to do these mods. Crap drives me nuts. Chase Tail Not Tone is actually a t-shirt. That has to be a t-shirt. I like that a lot. On the subject of Blasphemy and Fender, what are your thoughts on sticking a neck P90 in a telly? There is no such thing as blasphemy on a guitar. It is your guitar. You own it. You paid your money. Do whatever you want with it. Run it over, shoot it, burn it. I will not be upset. I am not one of these people who says, oh, but you could have given it to a poor kid, or you could have done this, or you could have done that, or you shouldn't do this, or that's a fender. You should never, blah, blah, blah. It's your money. It's your guitar. It is your object, and whatever brings you joy with that instrument, that is what you should do. I'm not here to tell you anything else. You should do it. In this whole conversation right here we're having right now is honestly to help you avoid spending money that you could do something else with. You know, the example we just talked about with the River City Bridge or whatever the thing's called, Music City Bridge. River City Pens is a fountain pen company. The Music City Bridge deal. It's $100 that had I spent that money, I'd be bummed out because it's $100 I could have spent on something else. You know? No, there is nothing blasphemous you could do to a guitar. Unless you stole it or unless it's not yours. If it's yours, it's yours. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. I'm about to put my butterscotch telly after swapping out a broadcaster wiring system. Oh, that's cool. Modded for practical reasons, changing pickups. Yep. Yeah, practicality is a thing. And especially if you gig a lot. There might be practical changes that you make. You know, we watch these like rig rundowns sometimes, right? And this guy's like, yeah, the strap pin is in this whack spot. Or I've got, you know, this, I don't know, whatever. Like there's all kind of crazy things we've seen over the years, right? Like this is where I keep my picks. I don't know, like goofy stuff. But it's like, well, I use this, you know? But I can't go that far like, oh, it's a tool, so therefore it doesn't matter, you know, blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. The whole point of all this crap is that we're playing guitar. I find John Mayer to be annoying a lot of times when he talks. He's a fantastic guitar player, and I love his guitar, right? Absolutely love it. I love the Silver Sky a lot. And he's a freaking amazing guitar player, but I just kind of find him a little annoying. He has a great watch collection, though. I love watching his watch collection videos on YouTube. But when they released the PRS Silver Sky, and you can still find it on the internet, the release video that came out for the PRS Silver Sky SE, I think he was playing like a green one, like one of those ugly colored ones. And he said he was really enjoying it. And he was having a lot of fun. And he's like, there's a reason why we call it playing guitar, because we are playing, right? Like this should be fun. This should be fun. I mean, are you having fun? Are you playing guitar, or are you just like arguing about guitar, right? Like I don't know. I'll never forget that too. That's just something I heard. It was in a marketing video, and I was like, yeah, playing guitar. That's what we're doing. We're actually playing. Well, I use it for blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's fine. But the majority of us, if we're honest with ourselves, do care what it looks like, do care how it feels, and do care that we're actually playing guitar because we want to actually have fun. If this was like sticking your stick in your eye, poking yourself with a stick in the eye, I'll get it out. We would not do it. We would not do it. It has to be fun. And so if you take this so seriously that you find these conversations, you know, the truth hurts. That's all I'm saying. And the other thing I think about too, this is another thing I learned. I learned it from a buddy of mine, maybe, I don't know, 25 years ago, 20 years ago. I don't know. I was in the power sports industry. I was designing dirt bike parts. And my specialty in the power sports industry was airflow and fuel. So understanding how the air flows through a cylinder head and how you can use that to make horsepower. That's the very simple version. So I think about that a lot. And one of my buddies, we always used to talk about it, about making sure that we're not tuning ourselves to a standstill. Meaning that if we get a good result, then that is the good result. And buying another thing to put on the bike, doing another thing to it, spending another hour once we think we have it at its potential is just taking away from actually enjoying and using the thing. And you can get to a point where you're fiddling and fiddling and fiddling and fiddling and fiddling so much that you lose reference to what the goal was in the first place. And I think that's what happens a lot with guitar people, is they spend so much time arguing about this crap that they forget what they were even arguing about in the first place. Like, does the guitar sound good? Then it is good. End of story. Go play it. Have fun. Like, drink some beer or whatever you want, whatever you choose, with your friends, and forget about all of this and play, right? So when you modify a guitar, don't tune it to a standstill to the point that you're just doing so much that you're forgetting what the goal is. And that's why I like keeping things simple with, like yesterday we talked on the Strat about the Strat stuff. We talked about like not a bunch of switches and junk. And I respect the people that like that stuff. It's just not my thing. But I think keeping it more simple lends itself to less fiddling and more playing. And when you have a good Strat pickup, which we make, you stick it in there. And you like for example, there, we only have a few sets of Strat pickups, right? It's also all of this whole thing kind of goes into my entire design ethos of our pickups is I don't have a million models for everything, right? It is very possible, I know because we do it, to make a one size fits all P90. Because the thing that 99% of people are looking for is in that pickup. So I don't need a country one and a rock one and a metal one and a low output one and a high output one and a this and a that. I don't need that. All it does is confuse people and it tunes you to a standstill. You end up worrying about it so much. Well, what if I could have got this other one? Would this other one be better? Et cetera, et cetera. No. So why would I make something that goes from here to here, then from here to here, then from here to here? Why don't I just make one that goes from here to here? It's possible. We do that with our Tele stuff. We do that with our P90s. We do it a little less with our humbuckers, but we don't have a lot of models of humbuckers, right? And we actually don't. I think we have 3 or 4 different models of Strat stuff now, but a couple of those models are kind of specialized, and then the other ones are just, you got hot ones and medium. I actually literally like pickups, little hotter, really hot. That's it. And then I got 2 other kind of specialty ones. But that's it. Like, small, medium, large, medium, mild, hot, whatever you want to call it. And just keeping it simple so that you're not tuning yourself to a standstill and you're not having like a FOMO about, oh, maybe I should have got that other one. Would that other one be better than this? I don't really know. You know what I mean? Like, it just keeps it super simple, I think. Don't tune yourself to a standstill. Yeah. Let's see. Just changed my pickups because I wanted to. Yeah, I mean, I like that too. And I'm not saying you shouldn't mod your guitar, obviously. I mean, that's not the goal of this conversation. I just think it's important to sit and think and be really honest with ourselves about why we do it. And it's okay if you don't like the way your pickguard looks. It's okay if you want a different pickup cover color. It's okay if you want something that doesn't look like what everybody else has in town because you want to be a little more individual than that. Or, if you drive a beige Ford Taurus and you want a black Strat with a white pickguard, that's okay too. It's totally fine. And the other thing is, I just don't care what anybody says about it. Like, I know people don't like my guitar choices. I know they don't. And they're like, well, you should review more stuff that more people are, have, like, can relate to more and whatever. And I'm like, no. I know what good tone is. That's what's important. I can't make it all the time because I'm not that good, but I know what it is and I know how to help you get it. I always tell everybody, I tell all my friends, and I say this to a lot of people, that I'm better at making you sound good than I am at making me sound good. And I can do that. I can make you sound better. I can't always make me sound better, but I can make you sound better. And I technically know how to do it. And that's all that really matters. Because at the end of the day, my focus for me, and I'm in a little different spot because of what I do for a living, but for me, my thing is, and that kind of the whole point of this whole conversation today is this. And I've said it many times, but there's maybe some new ones here that have never heard it, is that you might have a limited time and a limited budget to spend on this hobby. Want to make sure that you get the best results you can, right? That's it. Yeah, man. I have a black strat with a white pay card. Yeah, cool. Awesome. You guys have been fun. I got a really fun video coming out tomorrow. Where's a good place to get decent pickup coil wire? I mean, anything I would give you, you would have to buy like lots of it. So, honestly, I would get pickup. If I was kind of messing around with pickup stuff, like in the beginning, like when I would say Mojotone or StuMac is where I would go for it. Don't get it off of eBay. Don't get it off of Amazon. Because the stuff on, I'm pretty sure the stuff on Mojotone and the stuff on StuMac is Electrosola, which is the brand you want. And you're going to pay more for it, because it's the little rolls, and they're more expensive that way. But like the amount that I use in a month, and where I buy it from is a different place, and you would not probably ever use it all. So I would say just StuMac or Mojotone would be the thing. Awesome, you guys. Thanks for hanging out. I've got a really fun video coming tomorrow. Hopefully y'all like it. We'll see you later.